Hey everyone, I'm Gigi, and today I'm going to be doing a very special video because this channel recently hit 1,000 subscribers. I am just overwhelmed. I'm beyond excited. Thank you to everybody that has continued to support this channel, and hello to all of my new subscribers. I'm super excited to have you here, and thank you so much. Hopefully, we'll have lots of fun times together here on the channel. But yeah, I'm extremely excited. I had this channel for a bit, and I went on a hiatus that lasted a couple years, just due to personal reasons. And I recently just started posting videos again this year. And one of my goals for 2021 was to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And it's March, and we've done that. And I'm super hyped. I'm super grateful. Again, thank you everybody for your continued support. And the last video I made was a little bit heavier, and I wanted to make something that was just a little bit lighter and a little bit, fun. So that is why today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite BTS songs. So the reason I wanted to do this is because in the last video, there were a lot of people that were not happy with me about things I had to say about Dynamite. Because, I just mentioned that it wasn't their most complex song, and I didn't think it was one of the best songs they made. I'm not saying that it's bad, because I do really enjoy that song, but I just think if you look at their whole discography, I wouldn't call it one of their best. So spoiler alert, that song's not going to be on here. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is just go through and talk about my personal 10 favorite songs that they have ever put out. So just to kind of preface, I'm not putting these in a ranked order, like least favorite to most favorite. Like, I'm going to be listing them in the order of which they came out. So oldest to newest. Also, solo songs from the guys are fair game as long as they are a part of a official BTS album. So any solo tracks put out on SoundCloud or any of the mixtapes, sorry, I didn't qualify for them for this list because it was hard enough trying to just narrow down all the songs I like to 10. So I just kind of put that to make it easier on myself. So here we go with number 10. So If I Ruled the World, this is off of their first EP, I believe. I'm not sure if it was their first full album of their first EP, but it's Oh Are You Late Too, back in 2013. I'm gonna be real honest, I didn't care for this song much when I first heard it, because back then is when they were super heavy into their hip-hop concept, and I had very mixed feelings about that whole time period with them. So in the very beginning, I've followed them since their debut, just because they came out very strong. I thought they were super interesting and super talented, so I was a very casual fan in the very beginning. So when I heard this, I had mixed feelings, because something you gotta understand about me, like, I was raised on a bunch of different music genres, one of them being gangster rap. So like Tupac, Biggie, Snoop Dogg, NWA, Wu-Tang Clan, like people like that were staples in my household. So I do have like a great appreciation and respect for hip hop, and I wasn't too fond of hearing 7 dudes from Korea talking about West Side Till I Die. I had very mixed feelings about it. Now, granted, they did get mentored by West Coast artists, Coolio and Warren G. So to be fair, they do have some kind of merit in that aspect. American Hustle Life, look it up. That was a wild time. But as I've continued to listen to it as the years have gone by, this is a bop. Like, it definitely has that old school West Coast vibe, which I love. And I think it's a great song. Lyrics wise, It's very kind of superficial. Like at some point they're talking about how they're going to be drinking under like a bunch of women basically in one of RM's verses. That's not a direct translation. That is very much like a, what's the word? I'm spacing on it. Paraphrase. I'm paraphrasing. But it's very much like that. It's not a very deep song, but it's great music wise. So it grew on me. That's number 10. Here we are with number 9. So Tomorrow is a very, very popular song, I would say, in the fandom overall. It's very mellow, kind of has a sexy-ish tone to it, although lyrically it's more about how I interpret it, is like the monotony of adult life. You know, like you had all these dreams when you were a kid and you had all these expectations of what it was going to be as you got older, and then you actually get there and life slaps you in the face. It kind of talks about like how it's okay if you feel kind of stuck, that you just have to be persistent in pursuing your goals. And composition wise, it is a wonderful song. It's super chill and I really like it. I think the guys' voices sound great. You know, the rap verses are immaculate per usual for them. And it's one of my favorite songs of all time, obviously. I need you, girl. 왜 혼자서라고 혼자서만 이별해. I need you, girl. 왜. So number 8 is I Need You. Now, this song has a very special place in my heart because this was kind of the turning point for me from casual fan to absolute stan of BTS. When this song came out, I thought it sounded great. Back then, I used to listen to all kinds of like weekly countdowns on YouTube just to kind of keep up with what was new and what was coming out. And when I first saw this song on one of the countdowns I would watch, I loved it immediately. So I decided to look up the music video, and I noticed the one that I first saw said clean version. And I was like, huh. That means there's a not clean version. I want that one. So I went and looked it up. It's the original version. And it was so dark and just shocking. And honestly, like I love darker concepts. So to me, all of the themes of it, people getting beat up, people dying, that was kind of the start for me with the whole like alternative universe within BTS's music videos, like that overarching storyline through their music videos. That's when I first kind of got into it. And it's just, I was hooked. I remember after I finished the video, like I just sat there and looked at the screen just in awe, because like I said, at that point, like I had just been a casual fan. I wouldn't even look up their names. I didn't want to know which name belonged to who, because I was like, no, like I already stan too many groups. Like I like these guys, but we're gonna keep them at arm's length for now. Like I fought them off. I did. I was like, nope, I don't need to know their names, nothing. I like some of their songs. We're just gonna be real casual. And I remember sitting there staring at my computer screen, and I literally went, what are their names? And completely just lost it. Started looking up everything about them, and it was all downhill from there. And now here we are. Number 7 is Whalien 52. This is off of their Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 2 album. And to me, again, it's a very like chill, feel good song on the outside. But from what I interpret the lyrics as, it's about, you know, feeling isolated and like you're not going to be heard, and just kind of like keeping persistent and maintaining hope that one day your voice is going to be heard, and just keep moving forward. That's the theme in a lot of their music, and it's indicative as to why they are where they are today, despite where they started. I have like an inside joke with my friends because like in the chorus it says lonely, lonely, lonely whale. I'm like, oh my God, my song, hinting I'm a lonely whale, and then my friends get mad at me, but I think it's great. Anyway, wonderful song, moving on.
그때 기억해 내 키보다 훨씬 더 컸던 갈색 피아노 그게 나를 끌 때 널 우러러보며 동경했었네.
Number 6 is First Love. It is Suga's solo track off of their Wings album. And this to me, I felt was just a very underrated song in that album. Like that, Wings is one of my favorite BTS albums of all time. And, you know, you hear a lot about like Lie and Begin and Stigma and those songs. But I feel like First Love was just immaculate. Like it feels just very personal and very emotional. You know, Suga is in the song, he's talking about his first piano, the brown piano in his house growing up, and it kickstarted his love for music. And it talks about how his relationship with the piano changed and how it's always going to be his first love. And it's just very like emotional. And even if you don't look up the lyrics, you can feel the emotions through the composition of that song. Just, you know, he starts out in a very like mellow tone, and as the song keeps going, he gets, you know, louder and more powerful, and the music behind him gets more complex and layered and more powerful, and it just keeps building and building and building, and when it gets right to the climax towards the end, it just all quiets back down and it goes back to that first tone for the beginning. And it's just, oh, I love that song. I love that song. Like it's a masterpiece, and just 10 out of 10. Beautiful. I love it. At number 5, we have Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Now this is another one that has kind of a special place in my heart as well, just because with this song was kind of when I decided to start this channel. You know, this was back in 2016, and at that time, this was so unlike anything BTS had ever done up to that point. The concept was so artsy and complex. The video was amazing. And even the song itself, like it was more of like that boomba tone type music, which is not something they had ever done. And it was just so like jarring in a good way. It was such a change in direction for them. And it was perfect. It was great. And for me, you know, I would say like I Need You was kind of a very pivotal moment in their career, because it was the point at which they really started gaining recognition and respect in the Korean industry. Now, if I had to pinpoint the moment that was a turning point for their international popularity, I would say it's Blood, Sweat, and Tears and the Wings album, because Blood, Sweat, and Tears was the point of which I saw a whole lot of non-K-pop related creators on YouTube making reactions, because it was such a complex concept, very high production, and it was very enticing to the non-Korean market. And I really think Blood, Sweat, and Tears was the turning point for them, and that was the moment when they were about to skyrocket in popularity. And I love this song, and I was so heartbroken because I got to see them in concert in 2018, and they did not perform Blood, Sweat, and Tears at my date, and I wanted to cry because at the time it was like my all-time favorite BTS song, and they didn't do it. But maybe one day, you know, I still have those tickets to their tour from 2020 rotting in my Ticketmaster app. Maybe I'll get to use them, and maybe I'll get to hear it one day. So now we have number 4 with Don't Leave Me. This is the only Japanese track of theirs I have on this list. Now, a lot of their Japanese tracks are remakes, of their Korean songs. And for me, I tend to favor the Korean version just because it's the version I hear first. It's the version that I get stuck in my head. And when I try to hear that same song in a different language, it throws me off and my brain just kind of gets confused. So I usually lean more towards the Korean version of their songs. The ones that they make that are just in Japanese, again, I like, but they're usually not my favorite. But this song, like, just the tone of this song, just the composition, it's so amazing. I think it shows off their voices so well, and it just, I don't know. That's the main point for me, is just the melody, the composition, the musicality of the song. I think it's absolutely perfect. At number 3, we have Outro Tear. This song, the rap line really made something amazing here. And I did get to see them perform this live, and it was one of the highlights of the concert. It was amazing. They're ridiculously talented, and it shows off the talent that they have just so well. And when I first heard this song, you know, it's a song about separation and like growing apart from each other, and it's like it almost sounds kind of coupley. But then they came out and said that this song was written about the period when they were thinking of disbanding, and it takes on a whole new light, and it is so freaking depressing when you put it in that context. But it is such a great song. BTS has the best rap line in K-pop. You will never convince me otherwise. There are other great rappers in K-pop, but the chemistry that Suga, J-Hope, and RM have is unmatched. They're so talented. Lyrics are immaculate. They are the best rap line in K-pop. You are free to disagree, but I said what I said. Number 2, we have Black Swan. Now, if you watched my video on the Grammys, you would probably expected this song to be on this list. It is one of my favorite BTS songs, just because for me, it was the most relatable. You know, the song is about losing passion for something you once loved and kind of losing your sense of self because of it. And the reason I say this was very relatable for me was just because that's something that I've experienced in my life. Like I think I've mentioned on this channel before that I used to be an athlete. I played softball for 18 years of my life, all throughout my childhood, all throughout high school, paid for my college education. And that kind of formed who I was in my mind. I identified as Gigi the athlete, Gigi the softball player, and I was so engrossed in it. I dedicated a large portion of my life to that sport. So when the time came that I graduated from college and I no longer had that, I was completely lost. And it's not exactly the same thing, because it's not that I just didn't care for it anymore. It was that I was no longer going to be able to play. You don't get to keep playing fast pitch unless you go pro. And obviously I did not go pro. But you feel so lost. And even in the song, they talk about this might be their first death that they've always been afraid of. And that sounds like such an exaggeration, but it's not. Like, I remember my mom sending me articles whenever it was getting close to my graduation, to my final games, all these articles about coping with not playing your sport anymore. And they would describe it as, you know, feeling like you literally go into mourning, like somebody died. And I was like, that's dramatic. It's a sport. What's the big deal? No, that is very real. When you dedicate that much time to something, anything, whether that be a sport, music, anything that you put a ton of time and effort in, it becomes a part of you. And when you no longer have that, it feels like a piece of you dies. You literally go into mourning for a piece of you that you no longer have. And when this song came out and I read the lyrics, like it just, oh, like it hit me. Like just, I feel this song on a personal level, and it is definitely, if I had to rank all of these, this would be very high up there. Now, before we get to our last song, I am going to show you guys some honorable mentions. And last but certainly not least on this list is Louder Than Bombs. Louder than bombs break. This immediately was my favorite song on Map of the Soul 7. Just the composition of the song, the chorus is my favorite part. Their voices in this song are beautiful, and it's one of those songs that I will scream in my car at the top of my lungs regardless of who is watching me driving. Like, it is just an amazing song, and I'm so heartbroken because I believe they said that they didn't plan on playing this live. And I really hope they change their minds because it's my favorite song, and I can't have them just not play all of my favorite songs at their concerts. Like, why would you do this to me, BTS? But like I said, it is phenomenal. They're incredible singers. The way this song is composed, it is in there's a lot of minor key tonality in this song, which I favor highly. And it's definitely, that's why it's on this list. That's why it's one of my favorite songs. I absolutely love it. One of the best songs on Mount of the Soul 7. And there we go. Those are my top 10 favorite BTS songs of all time. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What are your favorite songs that BTS have put out? I would love to hear you guys' opinions and hear your reasoning on why you like specific songs. And if you haven't heard some of these songs, for a lot of people that are newer fans, go check them out. They have a lot of their older stuff is really awesome. I highly recommend just looking into all of their music. They've done all kinds of different types of song that can appeal to all kinds of different people. So yeah, like I said, let me know what your favorite songs are in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this, leave a like, comment, subscribe, make sure and hit the bell for notifications of any time I upload. Follow me on all my social media. I am at AinThatGigi on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok if you want to see me on some random bullshit. And thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye, lovelies.